Football season is finally here, and as you head to and from the stadium to cheer on your favorite team, NHTSA would like you to remember there are risks to driving drunk. So this season, let's all make sure to drive safely and responsibly, drive sober, or get pulled over. Back here with Coach Mangini, and we're talking Patriots. In a newly released clip from earlier this month on The Shop, five-time Pro Bowler and recently retired Rob Gronkowski gave some insight into the oft-discussed Patriot way. He said that, quote, not even Tom Brady gets treated like a superstar on that team. So, Coach, how does this dynamic set the Patriots apart from other teams, this Patriot way that we talk so much about?
Well, because when you have the greatest football player with an incredible amount of success, tons of money and fame and all the things that go with what he's been able to achieve, who sits in a room and is coached like everybody else, there's nobody else that can sit in that room and have hurt feelings if they're coached hard too. And it doesn't matter whether it's an offensive player, a defensive player, members of the coaching staff. When you get into that room, everybody is getting coached. Everything is getting pointed out. And some people will get hurt feelings because they'll say, why are you calling me out? Why are you putting me on blast? Whatever term they want to use, without the realization that all of our lives are intertwined based off of how we perform together as a group. So by pointing out the things that someone can do better, it's helping all of us collectively. And if there is a problem, the group understands there's a problem and we need to get it fixed. And if you don't work to fix it, not only is the coach going to get on you, but the rest of the group is going to get on you as well. So it's the way sports should be. People should want to be coached and want to improve. But there's this bravado, I would imagine, especially in pro sports, where people bristle at the idea of someone giving them constructive criticism.
And with the Patriots, people say all the time, why don't more teams do it like them? Why don't more coaches do it like Belichick? It's the same thing you would hear.
Implement the Patriot way.
Absolutely. And the same thing you would hear in the NBA with the Spurs. Why don't more people do what Greg Popovich does? Why don't they model that system? We have, in both sports, 2 decades of basically uninterrupted success. And I think the biggest reason is exactly what you said. It's not just the coach and the philosophy. You have to have your best player, and it certainly helps if your best player doubles as one of the greatest players ever, buy into it. Tim Duncan, it's the same thing you hear from former Spurs, that Pop will curse him up and down, or would when he was still playing, and he would take it. So how could a rookie then say, wait, why are you talking to me that way? Brady submitted himself to it, which is why, even though we question, is Belichick going to move on from Brady? Is Brady unhappy? Is he fully appreciated? Their partnership is so special and so unique because Brady bought in. Now, I know Brady wasn't the #1 pick of the draft like Duncan wasn't always a superstar, but within 4 years of starting, he had 3 championships. And within 7 years of starting, he had a league MVP and the greatest quarterback season ever. He's played another dozen. He could have at some point changed. He could have at some point developed more of an ego, to become more, okay, that might have been fine when I was young, but now, chill out. And he appears to never have. Same with Duncan, and it is what, to me, has allowed that infrastructure to exist for as long as it has, is even as Brady has gotten greater, his ego has not, his entitlement has not, and it allows Belichick the free rein to coach the team exactly how he wants, whether it's Brady setting the example in the meeting room or when it comes to negotiating salaries. All of the things Brady does enables Belichick to run that team the way he wants to.
Well, look, the reason a lot of people don't do it is it's not fun. We've heard other people who won a Super Bowl say, it's just not fun there. It's not fun. It's not fun. It's hard work. It's arduous. It's grinding every single day. It's being willing to go in and focus on the moment, and it wears on you. And you've got to have a special mentality when you go in there. But all that being said, it brings out the best in you as well. And you know, Danny Amendola had great seasons there and goes to a different place and had a totally different type of approach and lifestyle, and it hasn't been the same. You're just constantly pushed to be your best, and you've got to be willing to accept that. But I can tell you, It's not fun. It's not easy. But if winning championships was fun and easy, you know, everybody would do it.
Outside of Derek Jeter, no person that I know has a better rejection list than Bill Belichick. I'm going to show you a typical. Week number 11, 2014. Pats beat the Colts. They score 42 points. Jonas Gray rushes the ball 37 times, 200 yards, 4 touchdowns. He played only 4 more games with the Pats, only touched the ball 20 more times. A few weeks later, he was late for a meeting. Bill Belichick cut him. All right, so let me tell you some other notable players and coaches that he's moved on for. Only one that's better is Derek Jeter. Danny Amendola, Drew Brees, LeGarrette Blount twice, Deion Branch, Super Bowl MVP, Malcolm Butler, Jamie Collins, brought him back this year, Trey Flowers, Chandler Jones, Ty Law, Deion Lewis, Matt Light, Chris Long, Willie McGinnis, Lawyer Malloy, Randy Moss, Logan Ryan, Asante Samuel, Richard Seymour, Nate Solder, Wes Welker, Vince Wilfork, Adam Vinatieri, and Mike Vrabel, who's currently coaching. So if you guys think, we can say that it's Brady, but it's not. This is how Belichick's going to run a team. And players believe that they'll win. Even if Brady wasn't there, they're going to win because they teach so many principles about football that work. You know what they did in the playoff after 15 games? Oh, man, that team's not any good. We're not that explosive. Best receiver, Josh, suspended. We're going to go back to the 80s and 90s and run the ball. Chargers don't have a linebacker over 245 pounds. In the Super Bowl, Rams don't have a linebacker over 250 pounds. So y'all can give the quarterback a bunch of credit, but his ability to teach football at a high level, and it's not, I try to say this all the time, and the people I talk, it's not what I know in football. It's what I can teach and or explain. And no one is as good as Bill Belichick. There's always 3 phases of the game. He is trying to win all 3 phases. No one has coached the game better than he coaches.
Coach, this is a question we always talk about. When you left New England, did you try to implement that when you started coaching in Cleveland with the Jets? Did you try to take, you know, that infrastructure or some semblance of it and sort of, you know, try to do it wherever else you went?
Yeah, but it's not just about infrastructure. It's an approach. It's a philosophy.
It's a philosophy.
It's a philosophy. Well, it's not just players buying in either. It's how you want to set up your organization. And look, owners will say that they're ready.
Yeah, this is what I'm buying. Oh yeah, I'm buying. Coach, come over here, do whatever you want.
And it's there's turbulence when you go to a place, especially if there's a coach that, and you hear it all the time, players coach or not, a disciplinarian, whatever it is. When you transition, there's a difficult period that you go through until people understand the way things work. And that turbulence is not for everybody. Sometimes when that happens, you know, people grab parachutes and they jump out of the plane. You've got to have time. You've got to be able to bring in the right type of people. You've got to be committed to a certain type of character of the people that are going to make up your room. And then you've got to treat people the same, but it's also got to be a very disciplined approach, and it's hard. It's especially hard in today's NFL.
But that's the other built-in advantage the Patriots have built in for themselves, which is while other teams, particularly teams in their division, have been chasing them, and because they've been chasing them, they've brought in multiple different coaches. They've brought in multiple different quarterbacks. They've brought in multiple different systems. The Patriots have 20-plus years of the same. Now, coordinators change, but sometimes they come back, like Josh McDaniels does. Sometimes Dante Scarnecchia goes to Rhode Island, but then you can bring him back. You don't have, the hardest part for any coach, I would imagine, is the first couple years. But in today's NFL, a lot of coaches, that's all you get. If you're Steve Wilks, you only get 1, actually. And so there is an element of the Patriots don't have to reset while everyone else is. And Coach and I have talked about this off the air a bunch of times. I wonder if you just had the league average, whatever that is, coaching staff, but you told them, we're going to give you 8 years without a doubt, write it in stone, what that would look like at the end of that time just because of continuity. The Patriots have the guy who Chris says, and I agree with him, is the greatest teacher of football ever with 20 years of continuity. And oh yeah, by the way, the greatest quarterback of all time to go along with it. That's how you go to a Super Bowl every other year.
Can we also take a step back here and give Robert Kraft a ton of credit. Robert Kraft went and hired Bill Belichick and gave up a first-round draft pick for him when the guy had one winning season in 5 years in Cleveland. He spent a year in New England. Mr. Kraft got to know him, and he was willing to take that chance and then give him some time and deal with the turbulence when everybody in New England, because I was there and heard all the reports every single day, thought it was one of the worst decisions in football history.
Well, meanwhile, who's the second longest tenured coach now? Maybe in Pittsburgh?
It's Mike
Tomlin, and they've been successful for a long time, so you're right. Maybe
Pete Carroll right after that in
Seattle. All right, Coach, we'll see you later in the show. Coming up, hey, is Cam Newton the best quarterback in the NFC South? Next on First Things First.